I've not used StreamYard in a hot minute. I've used it a while ago.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of B2B Live Collab, where I have interviews and speak with industry leaders who are transforming not only their industries, but they're helping you, yes, you, and also me with our businesses, how we can thrive, especially in 2025 and beyond. So today I have a very, very special guest. His name is K. Sumji. We met on Facebook. He does all things sales, finance, actually beyond that, I would say. And one of the things that I'm totally impressed with, and I've started to implement it for myself, was his tips in how to create effective systems. So it's beyond sales. It's not just saying, I'm getting a sale. He's going beyond that. He's going deeper, and he's showing you how to be the most effective and not to just provide value, but to be value. And to be value is very, very different than being of value or providing value. So please help me welcome K. Sumji to the stage. Hi, Kay. How are you today?
Hey, Delisa, I'm doing well. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for that introduction. I probably didn't deserve an introduction that nice. That was amazing. Better than I could have said myself. Really excited to kick off and, provide as much insight as we can here today. And yeah, we can get into it.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Please share with the audience who you are, who you serve, and how you are positively influencing businesses and lives at the same time.
Okay, I'll try and keep it short. So my name's K. Somji. I'm originally from the UK. I live over in Canada now. And I work primarily with coaches and info product creators. I do help other businesses as well, but that's my core target market, and really helping them to, as Delisa said, create effective systems and systems that take people from start to finish. So from awareness and traffic to lead generation to generating customers and clients and nurturing those people along the way until the sale. So really start to finish. And I'm really big on helping people systemize it because, as you'll probably hear maybe later in the interview, I've done periods of time where I've built to really high heights in my business, but really burnt myself out. And I realized not only is it important to protect our energy, if something is not predictable and repeatable, you don't really have a systematic business. You can't predict your next month. It's kind of all over the place. So everything that I do, we trial and error, and then we find something that works, and then we systemize it. And that's exactly what I impart to my clients as well, and also just to my audience, even the people that don't work with me. In terms of how I'm positively impacting businesses and lives, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I've helped a lot of clients go from 0 to 10K a month, 10K a month to 50K a month, several clients doing in the 7-figure region as well. So we've helped a lot of people do that. And I only work with people that I really feel aligned with their business models. So I'm very quick to turn clients away if they're in an unethical business or something that doesn't align with my values. So that's one of the ways that I really like to help the greater market, help people make more money, hire more people, help more families, do what they love, quit jobs if that's where they're at in that stage. All beautiful stuff.
And one of the things is that you mentioned how you're positively influencing others and helping them grow their business through the systems, like being effective systems, I would say. And I'm using the word effective because there's so much stuff out there and fluff out there where people are telling you, I can get you to 20K a month, I could get you to this and that. But you actually have the proof. This isn't something that you're just saying. You have been doing this for almost 20 years. You practice what you preach, you've implemented it, and you have evolved as well as a man, as a person, but also as an entrepreneur. So you've been in the trenches, working hard, as you mentioned, and you've been burnt out, to now recognizing, okay, where do I want to be? Where am I? Where's my medium place where I could be of service and provide and be of value, but at the same time protect my energy, protect my space, and have a life. And it's very challenging to have that sometimes, actually a lot of times, as an entrepreneur. And so for that, I really wanted to share that with the audience because I understand, as well as so many of you guys who are tuning in, and even if you are professionals, that it is so easy to get burnt out. It is so easy to just be like, I need to do this. I need to hire this person. Somebody else knows more than me. But if it's not systemized, it crashes and it's like a money pit. Am I correct in saying it like that?
Yeah, it's just like anything in life, right? We need those systems, we need those processes, just like having a recipe, just like having an instruction manual to follow. Sometimes we want to do it without it, but the fastest and most repeatable way to success is to use that. So I'm all for hard work,
Yeah.
but I'm all for doing both. A lot of people have the argument of work smart, not hard. I believe hard work is 100% essential, and especially in the beginning, you have to go
Yes.
through that period. But then at different times, leverage, systemize. If certain emails are working well, put those in an automated sequence. If certain posts work well, let's reuse those. If certain phrases work, let's use those again.
Okay, yes, I like that. And so, since we start off, we're going to go right into funnels. And the reason why I'm going into this with the funnel piece is because I thought that was a good medium in terms of systemization. Because when you have a system that to get things through, it's kind of like a funnel, right? So I just wanted to understand one, what is the power of a profitable funnel, as well as how do we nurture prospects? How do we nurture anyone that, from either the newbie that just came across us because Facebook presented them, as well as still have clients or people who have been through the program still gain some sort of benefit from us?
Yeah, that's a loaded question, but I think it's a great place to start. So I'll touch on the audience nurture before I talk about the power of a profitable funnel, because audience nurture is so key. A lot of people, especially with the audience that's tuning in, some people may be selling low ticket, some people may be selling high ticket. And especially in the market now, what I like to do is I like to understand that buyers generally buy on their own time. It would be unrealistic to expect somebody to just see us and then pull out their credit card and plonk down thousands of dollars. And that's what most people try and get people to do. Will you make some sales that way? Absolutely. But it's just not very socially intelligent. It's not very socially calibrated. And if we can enter the conversation that's going on in our prospect's mind, it just works so much easier. Like, who is this guy? Why should I listen to him? Maybe it's going to take them 30, 60, 90 days to warm up to me or warm up to you. So I like to play into that. And what I like to reference is a study that Google did. You may or may not have heard of it. It's called the 7-11-4 rule. They studied billions of data points around purchase events, and they found that for the average person to make a purchase, they need to have consumed 7 hours of content with you and your brand across 11 touch points. So a touch point being a DM, an email, an article in 4 different locations. So maybe Facebook, Instagram, email, and then a sales page. So understanding that, my goal is not to try and sell clients. My goal is to 7-11-4 as many people as possible. That's what I teach my clients to do. And then they are so much more familiar with you. They know you, they like you, they trust you, they see you as an authority figure. And on the back end, that makes the sale so much easier because you've done this work on the front end. People literally, might sound crazy, they'll show up to calls with their credit card in hand. They will come through emails and sometimes buy right away because you've done the front end work. So that's kind of the audience nurture piece. And then in terms of a profitable funnel, you need that, because if you don't have a systematic process, you're just kind of throwing mud at the wall and seeing what sticks. So we need to know, if this many people come in through here, this is how many people move to this stage, this is how many people move to a booked call, this is how many people buy. And then also for things like drop-offs, I like to create a system for everything, and I just give this to my clients. So it's, if people don't show up for calls, instead of just complaining about it, I think, oh, what could I do to make them show up for a call? Could I have some reminder emails? Could I have some reminder text messages? Maybe they don't trust me enough yet. Maybe I send an email where I say, hey, I'm not expecting you to buy right now. So, here's a 20-minute overview of my program so you can see if and how it might be of benefit to you. So I'm really entering that conversation that's going on in their mind and providing all that to them. And when you have a profitable, predictable sales funnel, you know where your traffic is coming from. You know how much traffic is being generated to leads. You have a systematic process to nurture those leads through emails, text messages, whatever you want, right? Telegrams, DMs, stuff like that. And then you have different activation points. We might be going a little bit deeper, but they have different activation points so they can see where your program overview is, or they might see your story. They might see your story of how you worked hard and lost your job and really build that affinity with you.
Right.
So we are building, and that ties into the 7-11-4. That's what our profitable funnel is doing. And that allows us to never miss a beat. So let's say I'll give one example and then we can kind of move on to a few other things. Let's say 30 days after somebody has a call with me, I might go and message them, but I might forget that. So then I'll say, okay, let's have an automated text and an automated DM go out. You could have emails, you could have people phone, depending on the size and complexity of your business. Because when you have tens or hundreds of people coming in a day, you're not going to remember all those things. And then you don't have to employ different manpower. There's too many variables that could go wrong. So systemizing it is absolutely key. You can start this whether you're just doing a couple grand a month or you're doing 6 figures a month. It's just systemizing different pieces of the process.
100%. So for everyone that's tuning in, if you have questions, please put it in the comment. We'll see it. If we do not see it, because sometimes I know it doesn't pop up in the chat, Kay will answer the questions after on the different platforms because he is available on there. But I want you to know as well, please ask your questions. It is important. And Kay is a valuable resource right now when it comes to you taking your business not only to that next level, but evolving it beyond the finance. There's the finance part that is the that's just what you would get at that. But the systemization piece, that piece is so key. Kate talked about the 7-11-4 method or funnel, profitable funnel, based off the Google study. For those of you tuning in, Kate, 7-11-4, I want to expand on this because I don't think too many people fully understand it. They're hearing on social media, you got to post. Some people are talking post and pray, but that's not going to work. You have to have the get the automated post going up, or put up value post, or they're saying that, or they only specialize on IG. A lot of people don't specialize on LinkedIn. They're thinking that there's all of these different formulas. But can you please explain a bit more about that 7-11-4 formula or method that anyone can use, because you're using it and you've been using it a lot last year, and you talked about it. I think earlier in 2024, that's when you really started nailing it down, and I started seeing you everywhere: X, YouTube, LinkedIn. Whereas before, your main platform that I was used to seeing you on was Facebook, but you're just dominating the space with the 7-11-4 method that Google talked about, or case study that Google did.
Yeah, absolutely. And it can sound overwhelming for people because, like you said, some people are told post and pray, post this many times, use this automation, do these giveaway posts, post these calls to action. I get it. It can be a bloody headache. So the key is really systemizing it and then understanding we start in one place and we expand out. Absolutely. But what I always want to do is I want to lean into buyer psychology. I don't want to just say, oh, well, I believe people should buy like this. If I know most people are going to buy a car after a test drive, guess what? I'm going to offer test drives. I'm not going to try and sell them without that. I just understand the buyer psychology. And so I'm glad you noticed that change around 2024, because I was primarily building just on my Facebook profile. And during that time, I built up to doing over $100,000 a month just with my Facebook profile. So it can be done. But I understand there's shifts in the market. People are now a little bit tighter with their wallets. They are less trusting. The sales cycle is longer. So when I saw that study and I really dissected it, I understood, well, okay, if people want a certain amount of touch points, I should give them those touch points if that's going to lead to higher conversions. If they need to see me in 4 different locations, doesn't mean I have to spend 4 times the amount of time, but I will maintain a presence there, not to attract, new people on X and new people on Facebook, new people on Instagram. But some people, your biggest fans, they will stalk you across those platforms.
Yes.
And the more they see you, the more familiarity they build. And if you liken this to real life, imagine you meet somebody at a party and you spend 4 hours with them at the party, you form a relationship with them. But now imagine you go 1 hour with them for a meal, then 1 hour for ice cream, 1 hour you go bowling, and an hour you go get a late night drink. Well, that person's probably your boyfriend or girlfriend at that point, right? Like, you've just created so many more memories. You've created so much more trust by being in different locations. The psychology is really key of it. And so I realized if that's what needs to be done, let's do that. So the 7 hours of content is just cumulative. And if we think about this, because a lot of people may say, well, I don't know, or does this work? The people I've bought from, and maybe you have as well,
Yeah.
when I get on a call with them, I already know before I get on the call that I'm most likely pulling out the card. I just need to dot the I's and cross the T's. And that's because I've binge watched their content. I've studied them. I've read tons of their posts. I maybe read their emails. I've got DMs. Like I already know so much about them. That familiarity is there. So 7 hours of cumulative content. This doesn't have to be in a day or a week. It could be they watch 5 of your 30-minute YouTube videos, which is then 2.5 hours over 2 months. So that's 2.5 hours. Then they might read some of your emails. Then they might see some of your posts. So they need to spend 7 cumulative hours. And obviously some are less, some are more, but that's just the average. And then 11 touch points. So like I was saying, a Facebook post, an Instagram post, a story, an email, a live video, an interview like this, a podcast, a YouTube video. Not only does it get them to see you in more places, and like you said, Elisa, they can't stay away from you.
Mm-hmm.
It just adds that air of professionalism. Who am I going to buy from? Somebody who I see everywhere and I've consumed their stuff, or somebody I see on one platform? Even we go deeper, it's like, who's more likely to be legit? Who's more likely to have a legitimate business? Even though that may not be the objective truth in our minds, if I see somebody in 5 different platforms, wow, that guy or girl is running an effective business. He or she knows his or her stuff.
Yeah.
And then the 4 different locations kind of ties into that. These touch points will be across different locations. So you can tap into people, you can appease the stalkers. And it's just a beautiful thing. It just works so nicely. And when you do things this way, you don't even need a massive audience, because imagine, and I'll let the audience think about this or answer for themselves. Imagine you have 100, 200, 300 people who have been 7-Eleven forward and like stalking you across the internet, seeing you everywhere, consuming hours of your content every day or week. How much more likely are they to buy versus an audience of 10,000 people who don't even see you and don't go through this stuff?
And there's a lot of people who would have the higher numbers, but that doesn't mean that they're converting. And it's becoming so much more obvious now, especially with this influencer culture. A lot of people are recognizing with the influencers, yeah, they may have like a larger number, which years ago was important, but now people are looking for the ROIs. What is the ROI of your 100,000, 200,000, 1 million people that you have who are actually not only engaging but buying, right? That they're part of, not even just buying, but being part of that community. And so, valid point in terms of that 7-11-4 method. I'm just going to call it the method, because I've noticed the difference as well. You see me everywhere. Like we comment on each other's stuff, and the trust is so much more easier. And this year we're getting into events, and I find that now that, like, my daughter, she's doing Little Leaders events, and she's working with other young kids, 7 to 10 or 11, and they're building up their leadership and entrepreneurial skills. And I'm working with women entrepreneurs or professionals. Most of them are moms, because this is my specialty. With what I do, that's my niche that I prefer. But they trust us. And so when Faith had her event, it was right away. They were on board. There was no such thing as like, well, let me think about it. It was just like, oh, this is happening? Okay. Even if we didn't promote it just yet, it was like, I'm in. What do you need? How can I support you? They're reposting as well. So that was a huge factor. To the 250 people that are tuned in right now across all the platforms, thank you, thank you, thank you. Ask a question. Please ask questions. Please put in a comment. Kay is here to support you, to help you have the best 2025 that possible, as well as help you to implement in real time effective systems. And then beyond that, you guys can connect with them.
Absolutely. More than happy to help. And if I can just expand on one of the points you said there, Delisa, as well. A lot of my clients do have bigger followings than me. And I find that very commonly that they're not monetizing their followings as well. Whereas I'm finding right now, it depends. If somebody's goal is engagement and likes and views and shares, absolutely. But if somebody's goal is to optimize for revenue, optimize for clients, optimize for cash collected, especially in the B2B space, it really helps to have that kind of micro niched brand which really is just attracting those target people. You don't want your content to be for everybody. And just to throw out some kind of rough numbers, like a 10,000 person audience across all platforms will have you a very, very healthy business. You probably never have to worry about money again. That's
100.
takes, yeah.
Yeah. So thanks for sharing about the 7-11-4 method. I want to move on to a blueprint. No, I was going to go blueprint of, hold on. We have a question from YouTube here.
Mhm.
See what it says. He says, how does the interplay between the Merton model of debt structure, stochastic interest rates, agency cost, and real option? This is a question that needs one-on-one with Kay. And real options theory distort the Miller theorem on capital structure. Oh my God.
Well, that's an interesting question, and I could go into depth slightly on some of this because I was a financial risk analyst prior to doing this. But this doesn't really tie into what we've discussed so far. So, Bill Clinton, if you'd like to message me privately and kind of expand on that, because it's a bit of a high-level question, I'd need to know a few more details. I could absolutely go into detail on some of those, maybe pull out the old textbooks to brush up on some knowledge, but we might have to skip this one for now in the sake of time and yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, thank you. And thank you for the question. We appreciate it. But please reach out to Kay and he could explain more in detail in regards to that. So thank you so very much. When it comes to high converting strategies, what are some key elements for that nurturing sequence and that irresistible offer? I see a lot of top coaches in industry, and you've probably come across and seen it too. They were talking about having like they're targeting like high ticket, for example, and or they're everyone saying, oh, you need to have a lead magnet, must have a lead magnet. You need to nurture. You need to nurture. When it comes to the high converting strategy based off the 7-11-4 model, what are some of the key elements to that you can touch on?
Okay, so sorry, you said nurture, kind of nurture sequence and
And
nurture. What was the other thing you said?
lead magnet and that irresistible offer for like
Oh, yeah,
high
that's right.
ticket.
Irresistible offer. So I think the offer is absolutely key first
Mhm.
because you can market a bad product, but then it's going to burn out. Your business is going to go under. You're going to get bad reviews. So the offer is absolutely key. Giving people the outcome they want with your unique mechanism, I find that is key nowadays because everybody can get somebody a result. You need a unique mechanism unless you've had maybe thousands of successful clients. If you've had thousands of clients, you don't need to say, I have this unique mechanism. It's just, hey, I can help you get this result. But if you don't, you need to come to the market with something more than other people, a unique mechanism, maybe a guarantee. And this is why I don't recommend a one size fits all for everybody. If you've worked with thousands of clients and you have such a great track record, you necessarily don't need to give a guarantee. But if you're the new kid on the block, you may have to really get things rolling. So that's the first thing. The offer needs to be incredible. All right. People are going to go to the top 5% of businesses. If you're not in the top 5% of offers, you need to fix that first. And then in terms of nurturing, again, understanding the activation points people need to go through. They need to meet you. They need to resonate with some of your content. So that content needs to be posted regularly. Then you may want to get them into whichever nurture method you feel comfortable with and what is going to be best suited for your business. So not everybody needs a lead magnet. Not everybody needs a workshop funnel. Not everybody needs a newsletter. It depends what is going to be best suited for somebody's business. If they have thousands of leads, absolutely. Let's use a lead magnet because you have a great thing that can really filter those people down. If you're getting a very small amount of leads, maybe 3, 5, 10, a handful a week, then maybe a better option might be, hey, let's actually DM these people because we know one-on-one messaging is going to get higher open rate, read rate, click rate, response rate than an email. So it's about optimizing for what you have. So that's what I look at when analyzing those things is how are we going to do that? Now, in general, if I could just give kind of an average, as you build a larger audience, it's ever growing. Yes, you do want to get people into some kind of automated communication medium, so email, text message. And the nice thing about that as well is that you build trust because you get somebody's undivided attention. When they open your email, they're not seeing everything else. When they open your text message, they're not seeing everything else. But on social media, there's so many other bells and whistles and distractions. But this could also be a Telegram group. It could be so many different things. It's more about the medium. Sorry, it's more about the intention than the actual medium itself. Mediums come and go. Email, we've seen, been around for decades, and I've been using email since like the 2010s. So I always recommend that for people.
And a lot of people are wanting that email approach, the email marketing approach, and in nurturing, but not many people understand how to do that and how to automate it. Because I'm like, I'm around a lot of people, a lot of women, and then they're talking about, and I was there myself, like, well, I have someone helping with my email marketing, but they don't fully understand the sequence of what is needed, because a lot of the experts out there is treating email campaigns similar to how they treat social media. And I think it's very different. You can't necessarily approach email campaigns and email marketing the same way you would LinkedIn or X or YouTube, because this is written form content. And in saying that, based on the 7-11-4 method, as well as how you're talking about, we have to find what's the right approach for the business, right? Because as you mentioned, not everybody needs a lead magnet. Not everybody needs to DM. Well, they need to DM, but how, like, do you have the time for it? Is someone going to help you with that? Are you going to automate it? And if so, how are you going to do that? So all of those things matter. In saying that, though, when it comes to email marketing specifically, as well as the other one, how can we automate and optimize our funnels so it's on 24/7, which you always talk about in every single one of your videos, especially like you guys need to follow him on YouTube, because what he doesn't necessarily show on all the other platforms, it's in shorts on YouTube. So definitely follow Kay on YouTube. How can we optimize and automate our funnels for 24/7 revenue and to maximize our ROIs?
Ooh, loaded question.
It's a good question, though.
It definitely is. So I'll start with the piece about the DMs and then kind of move to the email. So DMs, I'm a big proponent of doing what needs to be done. So if somebody's going to the gym the first day, they're going to have to do what needs to be done versus somebody who's already in shape. So if somebody's brand new, yes, they might have to DM. They might have to DM more people. And it depends on the business model. If somebody has a done for you offer where it's, hey, I will do this for you, outbound DMs work amazing because you're doing the work for them. Whereas in something like coaching, outbound DMs don't really work as well. And then it's understanding your pull in the market. So at the position I'm in now, I DM people, but I only ever DM people who have expressed interest in my offer. I never DM anybody else. And that's because we have that many inbound leads coming each day. If I didn't, I would have to adjust my focus and say, hey, well, I need to do some outreach to get the ball rolling. Then in terms of being on 24/7, this is where you can either use automation in the form of softwares, or you can use automation in the form of people. I'm always big on using software where I can, less margin for error, less costs, doesn't get sick, doesn't take time off, and it's just more repeatable over the long term. That's not always possible. So something like DMs, if it's an outreach, if it's a ManyChat bot, if it's responding to something that somebody's asked for, absolutely, you could use a software. Whereas if it's something that requires more nuance, a conversation with a real person, that might be an employee, an appointment setter in the inbox. But let's turn more to email. In terms of email marketing, to really get that set up, first you have to give a reason for somebody to opt into your email. Like, why would they want to be bothered by you on email every single day or multiple times a week, however frequent you're sending? So that could be in exchange for some lead magnet. For me, I don't currently use a lead magnet. I have in the past, but I just give so much value on social media and insight, I should say, insight more so than value. And then I tell people, if you want to get more insights like this that I don't post to social media, hop on my newsletter. So they've already gotten some level of insight and value, And if they want to go deeper and get even more, they can get onto the newsletter. So that's the first thing, is understanding, why would somebody want to be there? What are you giving them in return? Are you giving them more insights you don't share with the public? Are you giving them a lead magnet? Are you giving them a free course? Are you giving them a 5-day challenge? Are you giving them, what are you giving them? Are you giving them something for them to trade that? Because it might not be money, but they're giving you their email information and they're giving you their time, which is just another form of currency.
Yeah.
And then once they're on that email, then you need to nurture them systematically. This is where it becomes different with building out a sequence. But I often say to a lot of entrepreneurs, you don't have to do all of it. You don't have to know how to make a car to drive a car. You don't need to know how to make a TV to sell a TV. It helps if you know some of the things, absolutely. And I am a big proponent of learning those things and educating oneself. But if you can hire somebody to set that up for you, as long as you know how to operate it, maintain it, and manage it, and understand the real tweaks of why things work, you don't necessarily need to understand the API keys and how this connects and the DNS records and servers. You don't necessarily need to know that. In fact, some of the biggest entrepreneurs, they don't know any of that stuff. They know how to get their clients results, and that's it. Mm-hmm. So setting that up is key. And then to have it on 24/7, you build it out over time. So what I recommend to people is start emailing. You see the emails that do well, and then you start adding those to your automated nurture sequence. So if I know a certain email books 8 calls for me, my VA is going to go in at the end of the month and add that to our automated sequence. And if someone's doing it by themselves, they could also do that themselves as well. Just set a reminder for when you want to do those things and add those. If you notice something works well, do that again. And as you expand, it could be emails, it could be calls to action to book a call, it could be reply to get something, it could be a link to buy a workshop, it could be a link to content like YouTube videos where you're taking people even further in. You could add SMS to that at some point. Don't want to overwhelm anybody, but you could add that at some point. And really the key is where you said email is different to social media, is because social media is more top of funnel. It's very casual. It's like growth. I see you. I don't really know you, but I'll check out your stuff. Email, I have to have a bit more of a relationship with you. It's middle of funnel content.
Yeah.
Now you go a little bit deeper with these people, otherwise they'll leave. Yeah. So you have your door, and then what's inside the door is in your middle of funnel content, your emails, your text messages, and then even more is what people get when they work with you and become a client.
I agree 100%. And I think a lot of social media management or marketing experts, quote unquote, marketing experts, they don't fully understand the difference between that. They think they do because they go on ChatGPT and it outlines something, but they have zero experience. Come across that. I remember I had one guy reach out and he's like, "Oh, I'm great with email marketing." I'm like, "Look, I'm fine." No, but he was so persistent. So I'm like, "All right, cool. I'll give you 15 minutes of my time. I want to hear what you have to say." And I said, "Please be prepared." I told him, "Be prepared, because I'm going to ask you some hard-hitting questions." One of the first thing I asked is like, I didn't even ask, "Why did I hire you?" First thing was, "What's my ROI?" And he was like, "What?" And I go, "What's my ROI?" Your price is your price. I don't even know what your price is yet, but what am I going to get in return? And then the second question is, how long is it going to take to get this ROI? So those two first questions he couldn't answer. And so right then and there, that didn't work. Then I get an email with like something that he probably could have gotten off of Google. I don't know. I'm just saying. And I was like, okay, great. So I just played the game. Right? You want to take your time? Like, sure. But I'm going to ask you the hard-hitting questions, because at the end of the day, there needs to be an exchange. It isn't just, "Oh, you're doing this for me and I'm paying you because you want the money." I need to know that if I'm being of service and I'm getting my clients results, I'm getting people results, then I also need to make sure that my system and the processes and the people can do the job, that they can handle it as the demand grows, because there cannot, the margin of error needs to be smaller. It needs to be limited. So I just, I just find it funny sometimes. So people, when you're looking for support or looking for help, ask the hard hitting questions. Watch Kay's content. Follow along with him. Even if you need help with your systems, book his call. He has his whole pre-qualification stuff that all the prequal questions that is so direct. There's no nonsense. This is it. Are you ready? And it's either yes or no, and you will get the results. The turnaround is really good, and I've been following him, as I mentioned, for a little bit over a year now, or a year. But last year in 2024, we really started to connect
Mhm.
more, a lot more. So that was great. If you guys have questions, please put it in the comments. I know we hit over 300 viewers across all the platforms at one time. So the visibility here has been really great. And I thank you guys all for tuning in. Most of you guys are on work. So thank you. Kay, as we're summing up here, I want to ask, can you share like a case study with us? I know you always have case studies anyways on your social media. So this is where, can you share like a good case study where the 7-11-4 method worked, as well as the automation and optimization, and how, if I come to work with you, or anyone that's tuned in, say, they start following and they're like, you know what, I'm ready. Like, what can I expect? Can you share an example, please?
Okay, I'll give two different examples. One specifically for 7-11-4,
Yeah.
and one more for kind of automations
Okay.
and leverage. Yeah. So in terms of trying to think of a good one here, in terms of 7-11-4, one of my clients that I worked with, her name's Steph. So she had a great propensity for doing videos. And what's really cool about her is she doesn't have tens or hundreds of thousands of views on her videos. On her YouTube videos, I think she does like a couple a month, and she has maybe 100, 200, 300 views. So very attainable. And she just kept pumping these videos out. And at the time, her videos were getting views and wasn't really doing too much for her program. And this is
Mhm.
where I like to say small hinges can swing big doors.
Mhm.
All we simply did was directed her YouTube viewers who had already built that relationship with her because they were watching her 20 minutes, 30 minutes at a time, hours a month. And we simply directed them to where they could express their interest. So in that case, we didn't use like a sales funnel, a traditional sales funnel. We directed them to a Facebook group. And in the Facebook group, she simply got them more into like a middle of funnel where she could nurture them a bit more. They gave their email address. And then she simply had a question: would you like me to reach out to see about helping you get to your goal, whatever the goal was? And she would have about 50 inbound leads a week come to that group. And that might sound high for some people, that might sound low, but these people had a lot of intent. So out of those 50 people, if you only book calls with 20% of them, so 10 people, and you close at 30% of that, you're getting 3 new clients a week. At $2,000, that's an extra $6,000 a week. At $3,000, an extra $9,000 a week. And we took Steph in that period to over $20,000 a month and growing. And you can see this all over my socials. I've posted about
Yeah.
this. She actually used the profits from her business to be able to buy a house, which is
Mhm.
just absolutely bloody beautiful. I mean, this is really what we do things for. She has a family, she has a husband and kids, and she was able to do this. So that is absolutely fantastic. And then in terms of more so the leverage and automation, I'm trying to think of a good one here with like kind of emails and follow-up DMs. Yeah, I really point to my client, Max, who Max was one of these people we spoke about before. So Steph didn't have a massive audience. She
Mhm.
had a few hundred views. Max did. When we started working together, he had about 300,000 followers on, I think probably 300,000 across all platforms, and probably 250,000 of them were on TikTok. Right now, I think he has about 700,000 on TikTok, like 100,000 on Instagram. But at the time, he wasn't really pulling in the money that you would think. Like, who's
Yeah.
struggling to pay the bills, a few $1,000s a month, really struggling to pay the bills and selling sessions for $100 a piece. And so what we did was we really worked him like start to finish, which was optimizing the offer, refining the offer, selling something high ticket that could actually get his clients results. Because in a 1 hour call, you're not really going to get lasting results.
Mhm.
Especially he was helping people heal from some chronic health issues. So he had a high ticket program, and then we helped him automate some of, or I shouldn't say automate yet. install some DMs, the posts, the emails. Automation came later. And just really by doing that, first week, he had a goal of hitting 10K that month. He hit 10K that week.
Incredible.
13K the first month because we did a launch for that. And then within the time working together, he was doing over $40,000 a month. Again, all completely documented videos, images. And I don't say it for any reason. Just I know there's a lot of people out there who claim numbers. I'm always big on proof and showing everything.
And you're not cocky with it or flamboyant with it, or you don't post everything right away. You do it in with integrity, and of course the clients, they are aware of that too, that you're posting, and so how your approach to it is really nice, and you're not sharing that information. Sometimes you share the case study. You do it not to say, okay, I want you to come and work with me. Actually, it's quite the opposite. You would say, I'm just showing you this. This is possible for you to. I'm not here to sell you anything. This is really what it's for. You say it more eloquently than what I presented, but I want people to understand that, because it's done with integrity, and you really build up the trust in your audience for that. And I've noticed that, as I said, over like a year period of being like consuming your content and being in your community and all of these things, and seeing the results. I want to go back to, as you mentioned, small hinges open big doors. So true.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you don't have a hinge, you can't open the door. You have to like physically move it, right? Which it becomes more tiring. Look at how simple that was. She had a smaller following, but her audience was invested. She already had a community. So if you have a community, it actually makes it easier for the tweaks to happen, where she doesn't need a lead magnet, or she doesn't need to have anything else, because the content is already out there and people are already consuming it, specifically on YouTube and as well as on the other channels. And so now she could have gotten a house within a year, right? Or have the down payment and all those other things for the house. So I think that that's really great. And the automation aspect of it, wow, look at that, huge numbers. And we're seeing sometimes there's a lot of influencers with these massive numbers, but no one's buying. Can I ask you, as we're starting to wrap up here, what can someone do if they have huge numbers, but no one is buying, and they're trying to figure out, like maybe they're harping on their team, perhaps saying, what are you not doing? This is not right. I'm going to get a new person. Like sometimes they think they have to switch teams. Sometimes they may think all of these different things, which is not necessarily true. How should they approach that if they have larger numbers, but not many people buying?
Yeah, it's a reality for a lot of people. And so what I say is, if you have a large audience, we want to see if there are buyers in there. There may be, there may not. I don't want to sugarcoat that. There may be buyers, there may not. Typically, from what I found, is people typically have about 1 to 3%. If it's an unqualified audience, more like 1% of buyers lurking in their audience. So if they had 100,000 people audience, they may have 100 buyers in there. So a lot of people are sitting on multiple 5, if not 6 figures. And hey, we don't know until we find out. So let's say somebody has 100,000 person audience across platforms. Let's go put out an offer. Let's go put out an offer to those people. Hey, this month I'm looking to work with this many people to help them accomplish this, this, and this. We'll do it by this, this, and this. Obviously craft out the post, and you can do that in a post. You can do it in a video. You can do that in stories. You can do it to your email list. Push that message out, because if you get 100 people out of that 100,000 audience, and your offer's 3,000, you just made 300K. And I know that can sound crazy. So let's even take 10% of that. Would it be reasonable to think out of 100,000 person audience, you get 10 buyers at $3,000? Don't tell me that's not possible.
Yeah,
so you can make $30,000 this week. And we've seen this done over and over and over again. I've had clients who have made 50K in their first 6 weeks from it. I've had clients make, like Max there, 10K in his first week from it. I've got a client I'm currently working with right now that just posted with a couple of days ago. First month, $9,000, never done any kind of coaching or consulting before. And we're not even done the 30 days. She's about 3 weeks in. $9,000 cash collected. Just from implementing this strategy. And then
So,
from there, you see who is qualified, who's unqualified. And there's no harm because people could think, wow, I did 100,000 person audience and I only made $3,000. I feel terrible. That is just the objective truth. There's nothing wrong with it. The objective truth is, hey, I've built an audience of looky-loos, not buyers. I can sit here and cry about it, or what am I going to do about it? And this is why I really appreciate you saying before that I don't like to brag too much about my client results. And the reason is I don't take any ownership over them. They would have done it with or without me. My job is just to help them get there faster. They would have done it with or without me. They're winners. Winners are winners. Winners always win. My job is to help them get there faster by saying, hey, could we introduce this, what I call a rapid cash injection, which we help people install in the first 3 to 5 days and typically recoup their investment in the first 7 to 14 days of working with us in the manner I said there. And that's through a combination of posts, emails, stories, videos, maybe DMs. And then sometimes if you have an unqualified audience, you may need to get your hands a little dirty. Who has bought from you before? Who has expressed interest in buying but not bought? Who has booked a call but didn't show up? Who has worked with you maybe in a different project that may be interested in this one? You may have 50, 100, 200, 300 people you can DM from those. Get your hands dirty. It's going to pay you dividends. In time, you don't have to do this. In time, you can sit back, just create content, and all the inbound leads come to you. But like I said at the start, there is some hard work involved. It's like rolling a boulder up the mountain. Once you're up the mountain, maintenance is a lot easier. But let's get you to that point first. And I find that tipping point, it's very hard to quantify with numbers because every business model is different. But I say for most people, around $20,000 a month is where that starts to tip. And around $50,000 a month is where it really starts to scale.
I'm now starting to see a lot more, especially with our conversation. And I hope for everyone that has been tuning in. I mean, you guys, I'm surprised not too many questions have been coming in, but I think it's because people have just been consuming the information and actually allowing it to digest, because we've been over 250 people hitting 300. If it goes down, it's still sticking at 250. All of you guys across all the four platforms, sorry. Thank you for staying tuned in and investing the time to listen to Kay. And I want you guys to know to please reach out to him, follow him along, and learn how to take your business to that next level. It isn't that, oh, I'm at 50K and what can I get from this? Well, no, he's going to show you, as he mentioned, small hinges open big doors. Small hinges open big doors. Kay, speaking of small hinges opening big doors, how can we get in contact with you? And I believe you had a link you wanted us to share. Can you share a bit more about that one? Or
yeah, so to follow me, just find my name, K Somji, across different platforms. It's going to just be, sometimes I've had different accounts in the past, so it's just my plain name, or like dots or underscores, stuff like that. You can find me Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. You can follow me there. Send me a DM, I'm more than happy to connect. And for anybody who's looking for more insights, if you enjoyed what I shared here, I share a daily insight like this to my inner circle of newsletter subscribers. And if you have that link, you can share that with the audience, or I can pop it in the chat. And yeah, if anyone wants to jump on there, fair warning, you will get a daily insight from me. So it's only if you enjoyed what you got here today and you want to see more actionable insights you can install into your business to increase your revenue, systemize your business, and shave down on time.
Well, definitely. I love that offer. And that is an exceptional offer. Get on the email list. I know I'm getting on the email list. I thought I was on all these platforms, but I know I wasn't on the email list. I wasn't sure about that method, but like how active you were with the emails.
Oh, yeah.
But now that I know, let me tell you. Guys,
I don't talk about it enough, probably, but yeah.
No, you don't. You don't talk about it, because I've stalked you on every single platform. We've stalked each other, I think. You'd be like, hey, you're over here. I'm like, yeah. But in a good way, guys. So thank you so very much for being here. If you guys are watching the replay, please put any comments, any questions you have in the chat. Please know that Kay will get it. I do make sure that any information or comments or questions that come through, I share it with him or any of my guests that it pertains to, so they can answer it. And I encourage you all to follow Kay, get on his email list, and the link will be in the bottom in the chat, as well as we're going to do a surprise gift reel. Hey, a gift reel for it, with the link to his email, so you guys can get on that list. Thank you so much, Kay, for joining us today and for taking the time to share with us how we can transform our business financially while at the same time leading a holistic and whole life in 2025.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you having me out. Appreciate you asking me questions. Love the chat and appreciate you sharing me with your audience. I hope everybody got some good insights from this. And yeah, if there's any way I can serve any of you, more than happy to do so.
Thank you.